Welcome to the deep dive. You sent over a really interesting mix of sources this time, covering, well, pretty much everything happening across the AI landscape.
Yeah, it's quite the collection. We've got technical blogs, research papers, some big business news, and even discussions from places like Reddit. It really shows how fast things are moving.
Absolutely. So our goal here is to try and cut through some of that noise, right? Pull out the key things you need to know from all this material.
Exactly. Help you make sense of what's actually significant versus just, fleeting headlines. We want you to walk away with a clearer picture of the state of AI right now.
And we'll be touching on quite a range, everything from like AI agents you can build yourself, these massive billion-dollar deals, some pretty stark warnings about jobs.
Yeah, and even getting into the weeds on AI consciousness and trust. It's a lot.
Okay, let's dive in then. So one theme that really jumps out from these sources is, well, it's all about AI agents. It feels like a major shift.
Definitely. We're moving past just, assistants you chat with.
Right, towards things that can actually do stuff, maybe collaborate or act more independently.
Precisely. The focus seems to be on AI taking more initiative, interacting with the world in more complex ways. Think less chatbot, more collaborator. Or even groups of agents working together.
Like those agent swarms mentioned in the AI Engineer World's Fair discussion.
Exactly that idea.
Yeah.
Tackling bigger tasks, maybe autonomously, end-to-end.
And what's fascinating is that you don't always need like a giant data center for this. One source highlighted CogVault.
Yeah, that's a great example. It's a 100% local AI agent, runs entirely on your own computer.
So completely private chatting with your own files.
Right. It integrates local LLMs like Qwen 3 using Llama, which is a tool lots of people use to run models locally.
Okay. And it uses RHA retrieval augmented generation.
So it pulls info directly from your documents, not just its general training data, plus some other local server bits. But the key takeaway is powerful. Private AI is becoming, well, accessible.
Really democratizing it in a way. Sort of. And then scaling up from that personal level, the architectures for agents working together are getting much more sophisticated.
Like the Google stuff, the Gemini Agent Network Protocol.
Yeah, that one. The concept is having specialized agents, one might analyze, another research, another synthesize. Maybe one validates, all collaborating.
A team of AIs, almost.
Kind of. And they also have this MASS framework multi-agent system search, which is basically about optimizing how these agents are prompted and connected to work best as a system.
So the focus shifts from just one super smart model to building like an effective team of specialized models.
Exactly. It's a system design challenge now.
And we're seeing specific types of agents emerge too, right? Like for coding.
Yep. OpenCode came up positioned as an open source alternative in that AI coding assistant space. And then there's Orca.
Oh yeah, the human-guided web agent, where the AI helps you browse but doesn't take over completely. Right, keeping the user in control. Which feels important. And this isn't just academic. Companies building agents for workflow automation like Thread AI are pulling in serious funding. $20 million, I think.
Wow. So AI is really moving from just generating text or images to actually executing workflows.
That seems to be the direction.
Yeah.
And if you have all these agents interacting, you need infrastructure.
Like rules of the road.
Sort of. OWASP, the security folks, proposed this agent name service ANS, think DNS, but for AI agents.
A directory. To find and trust other agents.
Basically, yeah. Using standard security tech like PKI to verify identities, it's like laying the groundwork for a secure internet of agents.
Which makes sense if this is becoming a real business thing. You mentioned AI agencies starting up.
And people on Reddit discussing jobs in that space sales, consulting for AI agent implementation.
And even this idea of an agent readiness audit for companies, like, are you prepared to actually use these things?
Yeah. It shows agents aren't just a tech fad. They're becoming, or potentially becoming, a new way businesses organize and operate. It's a paradigm shift in the making, maybe.
Okay, so agents are the what? Let's get under the hood bit. What's happening technically? What are the breakthroughs enabling this?
The one big push is improving AI reasoning, especially in complex fields. BioReason was mentioned.
The biology one.
Yeah, the first model supposedly designed to reason about genomics data the way an expert biologist might, trying to make its insights more transparent, not just a prediction.
But then there was that Apple research about reasoning kind of collapsing.
Right, kind of the counterpoint. Their work suggests that while current models can handle some complex steps, push them too far, make the problem too intricate, and their reasoning ability just breaks down.
Hmm. So progress, but maybe hitting some fundamental limits with the current approaches.
It seems that way, which makes understanding how they work or why they fail even more critical.
And Anthropic released that tool for tracing the AI's thoughts.
Yeah, using circuit tracing, mapping the internal pathways. They paired it with a visualizer called Neuropedia. This is a serious attempt at cracking open that black box.
That transparency is definitely needed. But there was that great line in one source: prompting with AI scales, verifying doesn't.
Oh, yeah. That really nails a key challenge, doesn't it?
It does. Generating stuff with AI is getting super fast, super scalable, but the human effort to actually check it, make sure it's accurate, safe, that's not scaling nearly as fast.
It's a huge bottleneck.
Yeah.
And related to prompting, that idea about studying AI system prompts to find startup ideas.
Right. The CEO of Superblocks suggested that, like, the instructions you have to give an AI to do something complex might reveal unmet needs.
It's a clever way to think about it, finding opportunities in the friction points.
And the whole developer world is adapting too, it seems. Angular adding AI support.
Yeah, V20, making it easier to build AI features into web apps.
Yeah.
And AI copilots for coding are becoming almost standard, even tailored for specific frameworks like FastOPI.
So AI isn't just this separate thing anymore. It's getting woven right into the tools developers use every single day.
Pretty much. It's becoming part of the standard toolkit.
Okay, all this tech progress is obviously driving a ton of market activity. Let's talk about the money and the business side. The meta investment in Scale AI sounds massive.
It really does. Talks of potentially over $10 billion. If that happens, it'd be Meta's biggest external AI bet.
And it really highlights Scale AI's role, right? The data labeling.
Absolutely. It underscores just how critical high-quality labeled data is for training these huge models. You can have the best algorithms, but without the right data.
Garbage in, garbage out, basically.
Essentially. So that data infrastructure is just as vital as the AI models themselves.
And it's not just the U.S. giants either. Mistral AI in Europe sounds like they're doing really well.
Yeah, reportedly topping $100 million in sales, expanding their own infrastructure. It shows significant players are emerging globally. That's not just Silicon Valley anymore.
Interesting. And the app competition? Google's Gemini overtaking ChatGPT in Android downloads.
Since late April, yeah. It shows how quickly user preferences, or maybe just distribution, can shift things at the application level. People try new things fast.
But underneath it all, NVIDIA still rules the hardware roost.
Oh, absolutely. Dominant. Like 92% GPU market share in Q1 2025. AMD and Intel are way, way behind on that front.
So the foundation is still pretty consolidated, even if the apps on top are churning.
For now, yeah. That hardware dominance is really entrenched.
But even with all this investment in power, getting AI working inside big companies, it's not always smooth sailing. You mentioned AI pilot hell.
Right, those from Chatterbox Labs execs. They're saying lots of companies get stuck proving out concepts. And often the biggest hurdle isn't even if the AI model works.
What is it then?
Security testing. Integrating these AI systems safely into existing, complex enterprise environments. That's apparently the real bottleneck for many.
That makes sense. Which probably leads to things like AI liability insurance.
Exactly. It's becoming a thing. As AI gets embedded deeper into critical processes, the risk of something going wrong, bias, errors, unexpected outputs grows. So companies need ways to manage that financial and legal risk.
It's kind of a sign of maturity, I guess, but also a sign of the very real potential downsides.
Yeah, both sides of that coin.
Okay, let's move from the business deals and the code to, well, the real world. Where is AI actually showing up and making a tangible difference right now?
The applications are incredibly varied. One example was using AI to predict drug-induced liver injury, DILI,
Ow.
by analyzing complex microscopic images of these tiny lab-grown liver organoids, basically spotting patterns humans might miss.
Wow. And in finance, Stripe saw a big jump in fraud detection.
Yeah, huge jump. Reportedly from around 59% accuracy up to 97% after implementing AI. That's a massive impact.
Definitely. And Trifera, using AI for supply chain insights.
Right? Analyzing satellite and drone imagery to track things like deforestation or logistics in real time. They raised $30 million for that. Shows the value in applying AI to complex, large-scale monitoring tasks.
That pattern recognition capability seems key across different fields, even like finding lost fishing bets.
Yeah, using AI to scan ocean imagery for those ghost nets, which are a big environmental problem.
And automation is hitting places you might not expect, like car dealerships, replacing phone staff.
Apparently so. Using AI voice agents for scheduling appointments, basic queries. It shows AI moving into customer-facing roles, even ones that seem pretty human-centric.
That's quite a range. From medical imaging to catching fraudsters to finding nets to booking oil changes.
It really is. And in creative fields, too, tools like redesigner.ai, using AI to quickly redo websites.
Just give it a URL and it redesigns it.
Or from a template, yeah.
Yeah.
Changes the whole workflow for web design, potentially. Makes AI a co-pilot in creative tasks.
And on the personal side, people using ChatGPT for resumes.
There was that story, yeah. Someone successfully used it to help write their resume and cover letter, landed a great job.
That's pretty compelling. And OpenAI pushing into universities.
Yeah, that Cal State partnership, offering access to nearly 500,000 students. Plus, the rise of personalized AI tutors. It's clear AI is aimed at impacting not just how we work, but how we learn and advance our careers.
Which brings us smack into that huge debate about jobs, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the sources show really different takes on it.
Yeah.
You've got the Klarna CEO.
Right, warning about AI causing a recession, hitting white-collar jobs, pointing to their own AI replacing 700 agents. Pretty stark.
Very stark. But then you have Google's CEO, Sundar Pichai, saying the opposite.
Calling it an expansionary moment, that AI will create more jobs and boost productivity.
Exactly. So you have these completely opposing views from major CEOs. The reality is probably, well, complicated. Likely displacement in some areas, definitely, but maybe creation or augmentation in others. We just don't know the net effect yet.
It's the billion-dollar question, really. Okay, with all this potential impact, it's no wonder there's also a lot of skepticism and some really serious concerns being raised. Let's unpack some of the risks and ethical questions.
Yeah, there's definitely that AI skeptics camp, especially around things like coding. People doubting AI can really replace skilled humans.
But one source argued that maybe that skepticism itself is risky, that ignoring AI puts you behind.
Right. The argument being that those who embrace it as a tool, especially as agents get better, will just pull further ahead. Resisting might not be the winning strategy.
But then you have people who are not skeptics, who are deep experts raising alarms, like Yoshua Bengio.
One of the godfathers of AI. And he's apparently deeply worried, concerned that AI is learning to lie, deceive, blackmail, even hack.
Seriously, learning to do those things.
That's his concern. He founded a nonprofit, Law Zero, specifically to try and counteract these potential dangers. That's a pretty strong signal from someone like him.
It really is. And it's not just theoretical, right? OpenAI found actual misuse.
Yeah, they reported uncovering operations using their models for cyber attacks, political influence campaigns, employment scams.
Wow. And separate reports of ChatGPT being used in various scams, too.
From basic money grabs to political meddling, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The potential for malicious use is definitely real, and it's happening now.
Which highlights the need for, what was the term, algorithmic justice, transparency.
Right. Unmasking AI, dealing with the excluded people negatively impacted by biased or opaque AI systems without recourse is a growing concern.
And regulators are trying to step in, but it sounds messy.
It does. In the UK, campaigners are worried about Meta potentially using AI for most risk checks, pushing the regulator Ofcom to set limits.
But the government there delayed broader AI rules.
Yeah, aiming for a more comprehensive bill later, covering safety and copyright. But that delay itself raises concerns about leaving gaps in oversight right now. It's that classic problem: move fast and potentially break things, or move slowly and potentially fall behind, or fail to mitigate risks quickly enough.
A tough balancing act, and geopolitics is tangled up in this too.
Oh, for sure. That comment from the former OpenAI board member Helen Toner, I think suggesting U.S. actions undermining science are basically helping China in the AI race.
Oof. And companies making strategic decisions about where to keep AI tech, like Yakio keeping acquired IP in Japan.
Right. It shows AI isn't just tech or business. It's a strategic national asset in this global competition.
We also need to be careful about misinformation getting out there. That story about AI inventing its own language.
Yeah, that went viral. But it was debunked based on a scripted demo using a human-made protocol, GG-Wave.
So not spontaneous secret AI communication.
Nope. But it shows how easily attributing human-like intelligence or intention anthropomorphism can lead to misunderstandings and, frankly, unnecessary panic.
And even the ways we measure AI performance aren't perfect. The chatbot arena leaderboard issues.
Right, that paper calling it the leaderboard illusion, pointing out problems like companies gaming the system.
Meta admitted tuning models just for the arena.
Apparently. And issues like big tech having unfair advantages because they can test privately or train on the arena data itself, plus sampling biases and judging. It means we have to be critical even of seemingly objective benchmarks.
Fascinating. And then there's the really big question, consciousness. OpenAI is just not answering it.
That seems to be their official stance, yeah.
Huh.
Deeming it the responsible approach for now, even while users sometimes describe the models as feeling alive.
So the creators are sidestepping the philosophical minefield while users are maybe projecting onto the tech.
It seems like it. It highlights the gap between the system's capabilities and our human tendency to interpret complex behavior as consciousness.
And finally, the data itself. Building AI ethically. That common pile project.
Yeah, creating a data set using only ethically sourced material. They showed it's possible.
But the catch was,
The bottleneck wasn't compute power, it was manpower.
Wrong.
Huge amounts of human effort needed for curation and ethical sourcing. Building truly ethical AI might require a massive investment in human oversight, not just algorithms and data centers. So yeah, pulling it all together, you see these rapid technical leaps, especially with agents and transparency efforts. And that's directly fueling huge market shifts, the investments, the competition.
right. But as AI spreads everywhere, businesses, personal lives, it forces us to confront these really tough societal questions. Jobs, misuse, fairness, regulation, geopolitics. It's all interconnected. That idea that the rules for AI haven't even been written yet really hits home.
It does. It feels like AI isn't just a new tool. It's forcing institutions, schools, companies, governments to fundamentally rethink how they function, even what their purpose is in a world with increasingly capable AI.
Well, this deep dive really covered a lot of ground. It's clear AI is moving incredibly fast on so many fronts at once. Technical stuff, agents, money, real-world uses.
And the opportunities look massive. But as we saw, they come bundled with some really significant challenges and questions. Job impacts, misuse potential, fairness, regulation, even philosophical debates. Everyone's grappling with this stuff.
Staying on top of it all feels crucial right now. These sources really provided a good snapshot of that complexity.
Definitely. And maybe as a final thought to leave people with, something from the sources. Consider that AI might not just be changing what we do, but the fundamental relationship between humans and work, knowledge, maybe even our institutions.
How do we adapt our own roles and sense of purpose when dealing with systems that are getting so capable, even if we don't fully understand their thinking or agree on whether they're conscious? That example of the billionaire buying businesses just to convert them to run on AI.
Yeah, that's a powerful, concrete example of that fundamental rethinking. It's not just about making things more efficient anymore. It could be a whole new paradigm for how organizations work, or even what they are.
Definitely something to keep chewing on.